G'day everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we will be going through my round 14 AFL tips and predictions, and as well as that we'll be recapping last week to see how I did in my round 13 tips. Now obviously there was no upload last week for the tips, so you wouldn't have known who I've tipped, but for this video obviously I will go through my tips, so yeah, you'll eventually find out who I've tipped. And I'll be honest, it was a really poor round. I definitely had the chance of getting 6 out of 6 tips correct. However, yeah, I've moved down a lot in the ranks and a lot of upsets this week, which have just cost me big time. So, I don't know, I've sort of given up in a way, but you know, there's always still a chance of the comeback. So from round 14, we're going to be tipping seriously. And yeah, just the upsets, the really silly upsets last week that really cost me in my tipping. It started off on the Thursday night for Richmond and Port Adelaide. I ended up tipping Port Adelaide to win it by 6 points, and they lost it by 12 points. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird option going the power. However, you know what, I went for an upset and they nearly got it done. They started off strong with, I think, the first 2 to 3 goals of the game, and then Richmond fought their way back and they just know the ground a lot better. And yeah, as I said before, they play well against interstate sides at the G. And Port Adelaide, yeah, you know what, they've played a couple games at the G this year. They played one against Carlton where they got flogged at half time and then they came back to only lose it, I think, yeah, was it a point? I'm not sure how much it was, but yeah, I thought power maybe a chance for an upset. And yeah, a really disappointing start for my tipping. Then on the Friday night, I went ahead and tipped Essendon against the Blues. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought 2 upsets in a row, no one else is going to tip Essendon, so I may as well, and if they get it right, I'm going to look like an absolute genius. And I got it wrong, so I look like the opposite of a genius. I look like an absolute idiot tipping the Bombers against the Blues as well. They've been a really strong side, the Blues. They're sitting in the top 4. And yeah, Essendon sitting, well, third last. So a bit of an interesting decision to go for the Bombers in that matchup. But yeah, once again, just 2 upsets in a row have cost me. Now to the Saturday games, we had the Dockers taking on the Hawks at OPTUS Stadium. I did tip Freo. Now, it wasn't the best of games. They only got it done by 15 points. And yeah, wet weather was supposed to be forecast for the game. However, luckily for the Dockers, the rain didn't come down. And if it did, then I reckon we could have been in some trouble. But as I said, after we won against the D's, I can never tip against my team again. So yeah, I've tipped the Dockers to get it done against the Hawks. We got it done. The Dockers sitting comfortably in 3rd position. Well, I wouldn't say comfortably, actually. There's a lot of teams that can rise up and take that top 4 spot. Like the top 4 right now is up for grabs for anyone in the 8. Even Collingwood have a chance of making top 4 at this stage. They are playing really well, but the Dockers, 3 wins in a row. And yeah, they are cruising really well at the moment. The next game was Brisbane taking on the Saints at the GABBA. I tipped the Lions. It was just a really sloppy game of footy. I did tip Brisbane at the GABBA. They're a really tough team to beat. However, St Kilda did beat the Lions last year. I think that was at METRICON maybe? I'm not 100% sure. I do know that the Saints did beat the Lions last year. So, you know, it was really anyone's game. But the Saints are sitting 6th on the ladder, and after Melbourne's loss against Collingwood, Brisbane are currently sitting at the top of the table with 40 points, tied with both Melbourne and Freo at the moment, but they've got the highest percentage in the league, the Brisbane Lions, and yeah, they're on top of the ladder after round 13. Moving on to the Sunday games, I tipped North Melbourne. I tipped North Melbourne to beat GWS. I went another upset. I thought, once again, no one is going to tip North Melbourne, so if they get it done, I'm going to look like an absolute genius that knows a lot about the footy. But yeah, just an upset that has gone, yeah, really pear-shaped, gone really horribly wrong for the round 13 tips. And the Giants, from the get-go, just destroyed the Kangaroos at Marvel Stadium. Then the last game of the round, obviously, was the Queen's Birthday Monday match at 3:20 p.m. It was the Pies and the D's. I ended up tipping Collingwood. The D's lost 3 on the trot now. Collingwood have won their past 4 games in a row, sitting 8th on the table. The D's sitting 2nd on the table with 3 losses in a row. Freo, Sydney, and now Collingwood. That is crazy. I don't know who the D's have next week. I think they have a bye. Luckily for them, just a reset. Collingwood, they are playing outstanding brand of footy. They have a massive chance of making the 8. at the moment. So 3 out of 6 for my round 13 tips. Definitely could have been worse. Could have been better as well. Certainly could have been better. It was a pretty easy round to tip. I feel like a lot of people would have got a perfect round of 6 out of 6. Before we hop into round 14, I've never actually done this before. We are going to go into my tipping comp to see who is leading the ranks after round 13. So after round 13, as you can see here, we have Banger Harvey sitting in first. I know he is up the table in a lot of other creators tipping comps. He is sitting first, and he's got a total score of 82. So as you can see here, it's pretty tight in the ranks. We have Banger Harvey, followed by Krista, Alana, we got Freystar, and we also have, I think, 2 Aussies. That's who it is, in 5th position. And I used to be here in 6th. I used to be around here, and I've dropped off drastically in my own tipping comp. I'm not even on the first page. In fact, I think I'm sitting in the 50s, and no, I'm sitting in the 70s now. Oh, that is poor. Really, really poor. Now we're going to move on to my round 14 AFL tips and predictions, and hopefully this week we can get a lot more than we did last week. It starts off on the Thursday night. Thursday night footy has returned for the past couple of weeks, and it sort of just feels like the week starts a bit early. I don't know. I'm actually not sure if I rate it, I'm going to be completely honest, because it's just less games during the weekend. So, yeah, it's just more waiting time on the Saturdays and Sundays for the games to come by. But, however, Richmond and Carlton at the MCG. Obviously, we saw these teams face out in round 1 for the opening game of the round. Similar, probably exact start time and exact day as well on the Thursday. Richmond have the money to win it somehow. I'm not sure how Richmond have the money to beat the Blues at the moment. It's going to be close. I feel like Carlton, they pretty much just tore the Tigers to shreds in round 1, in the opening round. I'm going to tip Carlton to win it, and I'd love to go a big margin, but I really feel like Richmond still have a chance in this one too. I've done this a lot in my tipping over pretty much the entire year, just being so indecisive about what team I'm going to choose. Carlton, obviously, probably the better choice at the moment, but Richmond, geez, they're just, I don't know, they're just the type of team to win in this game. The Blues have had a win. They just bet Essendon not very convincingly, and before that they had a bye, and then before the bye they also got defeated by the Magpies. So I'm gonna be tipping the Blues to get it done. I feel like they're both in similar boats. They've both had a win, a bye, and a loss in their past 3 rounds. So I'm going to be tipping the Blues to get it done. And I'd love to go a big margin here, but I just don't see it happening. Blues to get it done, 11 points. Moving on to the next game, it is Friday night footy at Marvel Stadium, where we have the Saints and the Bombers at Marvel Stadium. This is going to be a pretty poor game, in my opinion. I don't know what I was going to say there. But yeah, St Kilda gets it done. I'm going to say 72 points. Essendon, well, what do we say about the Bombers, really? They're coming off, I don't even know how many losses in a row now. They've sort of been in a few games. However, they just haven't been able to execute. They've won 2 games this year, which is that's just laughable. It's a laughable matter. And yeah, Saints to get it done. A massive win for the Saints, percentage booster, and can possibly even boost them back into the top 4. They have a higher percentage than Carlton. They just needed to get one more win on the board, and they would be sitting 4th on the table. Moving on to the Saturday games, we have Port Adelaide and the Sydney Swans at Adelaide Oval. This could be actually a pretty underrated matchup. I feel like Port Adelaide obviously know the ground a bit more. It's their home ground in Adelaide Oval, but the Swans, they're pretty hot at the moment. They're coming off a bye and then 2 wins before they had the bye. So momentum would have slowed down a little bit, but they did defeat Richmond at the MCG, and they also defeated the D's at the MCG. So yeah, Swans are red hot. Oh, it's really difficult actually. I feel like Port Adelaide either will come out to play. If Port Adelaide don't come out, then it's an easy Swans win. But if Port Adelaide just give that little bit of urgency, give that little bit of effort, I feel like they could be able to push past the Swans. However, Sydney, they're good at pretty much every ground. I'm going to be tipping the Swans. They're experienced at every venue pretty much in Australia. So I'm going to be tipping the Swans to get it done. A margin a little bit difficult. I'm going to say cruisy 26-point win for the Swans. However, this one could really go either way. Next game on the Saturday is the West Coast Eagles taking on Geelong at Optus Stadium. Oh no. Oh no, I'm going to be obviously tipping the Cats in this one. Geelong sitting 5th, West Coast sitting last on the ladder with a $1,001 odd to win the flag this year. Geelong, $8.50. It's just $1.05 to $10 in this matchup. I'm surprised the Eagles have only $10. Like, that's the stage I was getting to. $10 is a good amount of odds on the Eagles. So, going to be tipping the Cats, obviously, to get it done. And we've said this before, like, the margin's not going to be as big as we think, but I'd love to tip an 100-point margin here. Going to go the Cats to get it done, 92 points. However, could West Coast somehow pull something out of their ass and win this game? It's just not even, like, it's not even worthy of talking about that, because we know it's not going to happen. Geelong, massive win, 92 points at OPTUS Stadium. Saturday night, footy at Giants Stadium, we have GWS and the Dogs. This, obviously, one of the biggest rivalries in the footy. We have GWS sitting in 13th. They've climbed up the ladder a little bit. They were in the bottom 4, I think, at the start of this round, at the start of last round, sorry. And the Dogs are sitting 10th on the table, coming off a bye and also a loss. So their momentum has slowed down a bit, and at Giants Stadium, I'm going to be tipping GWS. I feel like the Dogs have just slowed down their momentum. Obviously, they're coming off a bye, and before that, a loss. But before the loss, they were in really good form. But I feel like GWS, they've been in like some really close games. They obviously bet the Eagles a massive win at Giants Stadium, and then they just lost against Brisbane at the GABBA as well. Like, that's a really good effort to compete in a game versus Brisbane at the GABBA. Then they're coming off a massive win against North Melbourne. I'll be tipping the Giants to get it done. Saturday night footy, margin a little bit difficult. Let's go 14 points, absolute thriller at Giants Stadium, and similar to, let's say, the prelim final in 2016. And the one game left on the Sunday, it is Gold Coast and Adelaide at METRICON Stadium. What a boring Sunday affair. 3:20 p.m. I'm going to be probably tipping Gold Coast. Gold Coast just are coming off a bye. However, they are actually in decent form. I will be dropping a mid-season predictions video probably sometime later this week. I'm going to tell you now, Gold Coast could be in the 8, so you need to stay tuned for that video. I'm going to be tipping Gold Coast to get it done. They've been in some pretty decent form. Out of their last 5 matches, they've won 3, lost 1, and obviously had a bye in there too. Going to be tipping the Suns to get it done, and their team to just absolutely smash the Crows. I'm going to say that the Suns get it done by 59 points. A cruising win at METRICON Stadium. The Crows sitting in the bottom 4, and with only 1 win out of their last 5 games, which was against West Coast Adelaide Oval. There's really not much to go off for the Crows. There are my tips for round 14. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Obviously, been on a bit of a break off the YouTube for about a week now, but don't worry, the content should be grinding. Going to film a couple more videos after this one. The tips will be out on the usual Tuesday 4 p.m. time slot. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. As I said, lots of content coming out throughout the week, so you do not want to be missing out, and I'll see you all in my next video.